How you doing, everybody? Hi, Geezer and John, Andrew, and hey, Clyde. How you doing, man? How you feeling, Mr. Gumby? Let's see, Andrew. Good. Welcome, everybody. Um, what I wanted to talk about today, and hey, Bruce. It, let's see what happened. I have bought on C24 from a boutique and from an AD. I have yet to do something cool, like a multiple watch trade through, like pro shops. My mother got her second and had no reaction to it. Oh, that's a shot. Good. Good to have. I was worried she wasn't going to handle the reaction well, but it was fine. Yeah, you know, um, we'll talk about this for a second. I got after I got my first shot, I was fine, and a week later, bam, I had this real weird feeling, and that was it. After I got my second shot, no reaction at all. My wife has had both of hers, so it's like sort of we're at a really crucial time. I think about 10% of the United States has had their COVID shot, which means 90% hasn't. So it's still we got to be careful because people, even if you have a shot, you can spread this stuff. Anyway, I like to wait to the high horology hunting dog, find a good reference, and then buy it. Oh, I gotta tell you, man. Listen, uh, I just went through a hellacious watch buying experience, and I'm going to talk about it later today at when we meet at 4 o'clock because it was I wanted to find out whether it's like, am I the only one who has unusual things that happen? And it's this one takes the cake. Anyway, like I said, I'll talk about that later. But what I was thinking about was that how do we buy watches? Let me give you the sort of the I guess the ideal. You find a watch you really like. It's a really good one, and it's got a number of things. One, it's affordable because I really don't think you should buy watches that are unaffordable. Um, Usually, the way I do it, I like to use my credit card because then I have something. And then what I'll do, I'll save up enough money in a savings account and then buy it with my credit card and then immediately pay the credit card off because that's one thing you don't want to mess around with. Um, so, that's sort of the way that I like to think that I do it. But so many different things have happened. Um, And so anyway, that's what I want to share with everyone. What is it that's happened? And like I said, later this afternoon, um, I want to talk about a recent one, but I wanted to first of all, uh, sort of like what do we do? How do you go about it? I mean, save money, buy the watch. Okay, you buy the gift for anyone who may have objections to that too. Okay, okay. High horology hunting dog. I don't know. I'm sure. I think you have a pig sniffing out truffles, Clyde. Pfizer, yeah, Pfizer, Andrew. See, I like Craigslist since nothing says luxury watch trends. I like two heavily armed men meeting in an alley behind a Starbucks. Man, I tell you, I think I told you guys about that. That's one guy wanted me to, you know, he was literally smuggling watches into the U.S. via an airline stewardess, and he wanted me to meet the airline stewardess at a hotel out by I think it was out by JFK Airport in New York, and it was a very good deal. I was thinking, well, I'll get some of the guys I know. We can go out there. I'll get Bruce lives in New York, so we'll get Bruce. He's a big guy. Probably end up getting having our we could take our money and, and take the watch. Uh, hey Andrew, how you doing, man? Tim, oh, how are things in Massachusetts? Um, oh man, let me tell you, I keep forgetting to call my friend up in, speaking of Massachusetts, who has these Fuzian chain ones. I was going to do that. I'll see if I can call him between now and 4. The problem is, he seems the only day that he isn't really crazy busy is Sunday, and he always sort of says, "Well, call me back later." So, okay. Hi, Javier. How you doing, man? So anyway, so let's hear some stories. I'll tell you what I've already talked about. I was, and this is my Langenheim story. Okay, I let it be known far and wide I wanted to get a Langenheim. Okay, so one day I got one of those text messages from a guy says, "Bill, you still interested in the Langenheim?" He says, "Yeah, yeah, definitely." He says, "Well, he's at a bank in Oman." No, it was either Oman or Qatar, one of the two. And so I looked it up on a map. This was back when they were having a lot of problems with pirates in that part of the world. And I thought, oh boy, I'll buy it from a pirate. Well, at half price, watch. Well, that was like some special deal they had for the bank and so on and so forth. And fortunately, I was able to contact a friend of mine over there, and he's able to get me was able to do it to him. But I was talking directly with this Marrakech or someplace like that. No, I forgot the name of the city, but I was talking to her, and there was a big boutique, big watch store they had and everything. And so you never know where it's going to come from. That's one of the things. Ranch Wangenheim. Oh God, no. Hi Lee, how you doing, man? So let's hear some stories from you. I mean, uh, Clyde, if you got something from a from a guy from a bent nose behind a Starbucks, why a Starbucks? You know, why not a Fredericks of Hollywood or someplace like that? But a Starbucks? Uh, speaking of watches, well, go ahead. Um, so let me hear your most unusual watch story, uh, and basically how you go about it. I know that Bruce getting his bluesy was sort of like all of these things came together almost like magic, and the next thing he knows, he ends up with a bluesy. Ordered from Australia and Japan without a glitch. You know, um, trying to think wherever I had a hitch that something wasn't smuggled. Um, most of I had one on my Beauvais. When my Beauvais came, they stopped it, said, "No, you can't have your Beauvais because this was on the band." They said that the band was, some left-handed alligator or something like that. And I said, "No, that's doesn't have its sights." Well, that's sites made it very hard to put legal ones across. And now I think everybody's made it a lot easier for themselves simply by using leather bands. I know that H. Moser has kudu bands. I don't know what a kudu is, some type of, I don't know, what they call them, like an elk or a deer or something from Africa. And it's sort of a cool looking animal with these really cool horns on it. And they got watch bands out of that. And I guess they're not, they're prolific as rabbits. So anyhow, um, a large African antelope. Yeah, that would be so I guess they're full of watch bands. So I don't know. I don't like to think. Somehow it's easier for me to see, thanks, Raj. Easier for me to see some alligator that tries to eat wild beasts while they're crossing a river, having a band made out of the alligators than it is the wild beast. But what do I know? Um, on the Beauvais, this one came up. I had Richard had I was talking about Beauvais, and I wanted to get a Demier. Now the Demier has regular lugs like this on it, and the what they call the Beauvais Fleurier had the bow and crown. And so I was going to get the Demier because that was something I was used to. And Richard said to me, he said, if you're going to get a watch like that, why in the world wouldn't you get the one that is more, oh, I guess, in tune with the whole atmosphere of that? And I thought about it. I said, you're right. So I got the Fleurier, and I'm glad I did, with the bow and crown. But then they sent it. I don't know if this ought to be recorded, what happened. I suppose I can tell it in a certain way. So they came and they sent it back. So I didn't know what to do. So I don't know. A while later, I got a it was either a WhatsApp or, yeah, I think it was an email. So you have WhatsApp? I said, yeah, you can catch me on WhatsApp. So I started communicating with these guys on WhatsApp, and they said, we're going to be able to get your watch to you. I said, great. They had, the money was spent and everything else on it, and I did get a good buy. So, but still, it wasn't cheap. So they said, we'll let you know. Well, okay. So I don't know, a little later after that, a week or so, the guy says, your watch is here in New York. Can you meet us here and we'll give it to you? I said, sure. So, I mean, this was something I left. It must have been around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And it's a 3-hour trip to New York, and you drive down to New Haven, then hop the Metro North into Grand Central. And so, I did that, and I said, I can meet you at Grand Central. And he said, no, we're located somewhere else, but you can take a cab from Grand Central. I said, that's okay, I'll walk. I said, where is it? So he gave me an address. It was, what was it, 40, Grand Central is on 42nd, and this guy was down on 25th or something like that. So it was quite a walk, but I love walking into New York. So I on my cell phone, I was talking to the guy, and he says, okay, go down here and down here. Well, that was a long walk. I don't know how many miles it was, but with a watch, off you go. So I went hoofing down there, down to 25th, and then he said, go over to 6th Avenue. So I turned right and off, heading for 6th Avenue. And then I said, okay, I'm sort of near where you guys are, but I'm not quite sure exactly where it is. I said, could you give me an address? And they said, no, just stay right where you are. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's some people all over the place. The guy comes up to me and he says, are you Bill? I said, that's me. And so he says, who told you about this watch? Or he said, how are you going to, how are you going to, I guess, identify, make sure it was me? And I said, he said, well, how did you get in touch? So I told him who got in touch with me. I forgot, it was Joe called me or got a hold of me. And he said, and then I said, and then so-and-so. And then I said, and finally he said, and who else? I said, you. Well, apparently, and the guy gave me this real funny look. He says, oh, yeah, handed me the watch, and that was it. Weirdest thing, so I got, I hadn't even, they just, what I'm trying to say is that trying to think, I have a very hard time thinking of where I've had a regular transaction. I suppose when I had it, took a long time. When I got my Patek Philippe, that was, pretty simple. This guy in Texas, a dealer down there, he sent it to me, and that was that. I wired the money, which is something I don't like to do. And at the time, I was lucky. So I'm trying to think. Another time I got a Audemars Piguet from this guy in New York, and that was just weird, flat out weird. I found out it was weird after I'd already got it, because when I got there, I asked him, I said, listen, could your watch guy open it up? Because I always like to take a picture of the movement, set a solid back. So he says, fine. And then the guy comes back and he says, no, we can't do that. And I said, why not? And he said, he started hollering, don't you trust us, and blah, 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 blah. I said, I just, just like it. And so anyway, I finally left with it. And I found out later they needed special tools for that particular watch. And the watch was one of those watches that I probably should have never bought. I got a decent price on it. And so sometimes that was a bad influence. But that happened. And then it ended up, it was way too small. I mean, a lot of other things like that can happen. But I was very hard pressed to figure out I know one that was easy. My Harboring 2. There were like 2 harboring dealers in the US. One's in Philadelphia, Martin Pulley, and the other guy's in Solana Beach, California. So I got a hold of Martin Pulley, great guy. And he asked me what I wanted. I told him, he sent it to me, and that was that. I mean, that's the only sort of normal transaction that I've had. Orders Zenith Elite from Western Europe while COVID on, the whole deal went sour. Typical Western banding leather bands on the one hand, using child labor on the other. The deal went sour. Let's see, Rod, sounds like a stolen watch. No, it wasn't a stolen watch. At least my story wasn't stolen. What it was that this was a time when the now what are they called? Sites was making it almost impossible to send anything but a leather bracelet. I mean, a steel bracelet. So it wasn't a stolen watch. I knew the source. I knew the person who helped me get a really good deal on it, and it was anything but stolen. Trust me on that. I always check that out too. The thing is that with what was it? FP Journes. You buy an FP Journe, you call up the guys up on Madison Avenue where they have their boutique, and man, they'll check it out for you. And that's not stolen, so that's a good thing. Warm, huh? Wasn't warm. No, it wasn't that. It had to do with, like I said, this was a few years ago when they really weren't very smart about that. What I've done since then with a watch, I just say, send me the watch, take the band off, and send me the buckle and the, just send me the buckle or the whatchamajiggy that you latch it with, the deployant, and then just send the strap separately, and have sights throws away the straps or stops them. Then that's okay, if they're not legal. And that's the whole thing. Every single strap I've ever bought have always been legal. The problem has been sites. It's not that sites is a bad thing. I agree with them 100%, but they have this convoluted way. All they had to do is put a chip in the blasted thing, and that would be the end of it. Anyway, that's another story. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, only one Harboring 2 dealer in the UK, and he has 0 stock. Wow. John, eBay were at fault, never reimbursed. Whoa. That's more. I'll talk about that more. Only one harboring dealer in the UK. Well, look, I don't know. Well, we got about 330 million people here, and 2 harboring dealers. Tell you what to do, Andrew. And it's the only way. You go to your Harboring 2 dealer and you order one, and they'll and tell them what you want on it, and Richard and Maria Harboring will make it for you. That's probably the smartest way to do, either here or there. Hey, Tansville, how you doing, man? Okay, so let's hear some of your stories. I've been talking too much. This is something that. What was your? That one you had with the eBay. I've had nothing but good luck with eBay. In fact, I've got some of my best deals through eBay. Now some of it with has been with. I'll tell you about another place I got some great deals on watches through eBay. I got. I don't know. I've been lucky. I'll put it that way. I realize that sometimes you that's all you can depend on. This one watch I got through eBay, it took me, God, a year to negotiate what I wanted, and I finally got what I wanted, and the guy sold it to me. I think he wanted to get rid of me as much as he wanted to get rid of the watch. So like, all right, I'll sell you. There's that pest who's been bothering me about it. And so he sends it to me. It was a beautiful watch, ran slow, didn't bother me. And I figured, well, when I have it serviced, I'll fix it up. Finally, it did. It sort of the stem broke after a couple of years. That's not bad. So sent it in. Cost me Parmigiani. Cost me a lot. Came back with a brand new watch. But between what I was able to buy it for plus the price of the service, worth it. Okay, let's see. For me, European, it is difficult to buy outside Shenzhen. When the parcel arrives, you are ridden by customs. You lose more than the benefit of a low price. Yeah. Now this is some other stuff that's been getting sort of hairy. Let's see. I know the UK buying in Europe now there's some kind of crazy tax because because of Brexit. So now they got to pay through the nose for any watch coming in from Switzerland or someplace. But the thing that gets me is like Chrono 24, which I bought a lot through Chrono 24. Suddenly they're deciding that they're going to charge you sales tax. And I guess the states say, well, we want our sales tax. So Chrono 24 now charges you sales tax. Well, I've done a lot of things to avoid sales tax. I avoid sales tax in New York City by simply, having them ship it here in Connecticut. They have a state sales tax, a New York City sales tax. They're about 8.5%, something like that, in New York. So what I've done in the past, I simply, ship it here to Connecticut. Now we do have a 6.35 sales tax, and on a several $1,000 watch, that's a lot of money. But what Chrono 24 does, they decide they know what the sales tax is. Well, in this transaction I tried to make, they had the sales tax at 7.75%, which was a lot of money. In fact, it was so much that I couldn't buy the watch because the watch was, I don't know, I forgot what it was. And then the top of my credit card is such that I can't go over a certain amount. On my regular one, they'll let me buy the moon, but on that one, I've got to be careful about. Hi, Javi. How you doing, man? Let's see. For Europeans. Hi, Honest. I am thinking of trading the Pepsi and old sub for Daytona Black. Your thoughts? That's sort of like a Rolex thing. I think the Rolex guys would give you better advice than I could. The Rolexes I like two Rolexes that are unpopular. One is the Air King with the Bloodhound dial, and the other one is the Yacht Master 2. So someone else can give you some stuff on that. Alex, don't do it. You'll regret it forever. Try to get tight a little and wait until come along. Okay. Chinese watches duties have increased also. Chinese duties have since COVID-19. See, favorite trick is to find a watch on Chrono 24, then contact the seller through his website instead. I agree. Now that they're getting things so screwed up, I agree with that. Sometimes it can be very hard to do, especially with certain transactions overseas. And but I agree with that too. Is that now that they've been jacking people around with sales tax, um, it's not the fact that they have the sales tax; it's that they have the wrong one. Oh man, um, Andrew, I'm going to contact Richard Harbring directly, specifically because of the post Brexit taxes. Probably why the dealer has no stock, and see if I can pick it up in person. Our dealer on the continent. That's one nice thing. I suppose there's certain. It seems that since there are really no major watchmakers left in the United States, there's RGM and a couple other ones. That makes a lot of sense. you know, if I wanted to get an RGM, I'd drive over to Pennsylvania and pick it up. Uh, I wear that badge with pride. Uh, it's not the only badge you wear with pride. They are scrambling your telephone and emails. Wow. Okay. Hi, Javier. I'll say last time I was interested in a watch, I got a message flash that I would incur an import tax. Watch was in Canada and New York sales tax. Yeah, man. Canada is another place. Um, when we were talking about it, they got stuff. There's weird stuff for customs. I don't know, I think a bunch of amateur politicians got in there and really messed it up for people. I mean, if you're going to have a trade agreement trying to, start stacking on taxes and tariffs and things like that, they don't make it, they don't help anyone. And it doesn't help the government that much because certain kinds of people will find ways around it. Uh, yeah, okay. Hey, Tim, how you doing, man? Koji, how are you? The tax you have to pay for online auctions overseas is brutal. Oh boy, Koji, let me tell you something else. This is this is what I do on those. Hey, crappy. Um, I, with the online auctions, I always lose. Maybe one of these days I'll win. When the auction starts, I put in the lowest bid possible, and I figure, okay, maybe it'll get overlooked, and I'll get a watch at just a really stupid good price. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm always hopeful. It'll probably happen when I'm more broke than broke. But with those guys, you pay they have a Christie's auction house is a good one because they have this calculator. So you put in a price. Let's say you put in $5,000 for a watch, and then you do the calculations, and it's like tax. What do they call it? Premium. You pay a 25% premium on top of that, so it's a $5,000 watch. You're paying $1,000 premium on top of that, or probably closer to about 525. And then on top of that, you pay the tax, and then on top of that, you pay shipping. Now, I sort of like the ones that are happening in New York because the shipping isn't quite as bad, but they have some, they got stuff all over the world. The auction houses, the big ones like Christie's and Sotheby's and Phillips and so forth. So it's really nuts. Um, so what I've done, I all I know is that I know how to lose an auction. So somebody comes and they, sometimes when you think about it, I said, should I really have done that? And then somebody comes along and outbid you, and you're home free. If you shunt CA24, you benefit 6.5 and maybe 5% discount, but you lose the safety of verifying a real deal. Yes, Alex, that's exactly, if you don't know the person you're dealing with, you don't know the company you're dealing with, absolutely. I agree with that. There was a deal I had not too long ago that fell through from Poland. And the guy, I don't know if the guy was jerking me around or what he was doing, but I finally had this, it wasn't coming. I'd sent my money into the escrow at Chrono 24, got every cent of it back, went right back into my bank account. Easiest transaction ever. I had an exact same experience, Bill. Got lucky on a low bid UK auction, and then all of the taxes and fees came tumbling in. It was depressing. I cozy it sounds that way. Yeah. Okay, it's frying pan time. Okay, Bruce, thanks, man. Hey, listen, I got a great story for this afternoon. I've also worked out I think, a buying philosophy. It it's not going to save you any money, but I think it'll it'll help. Okay, Johnny, we'll see you guys. Hi, Howard. I have nothing but good things to say about Chrono 24. I agree with Alex. I'm much prefers Chrono 24 to the Wild West of eBay. I like them all. Take care. We'll see you this afternoon, I hope. Hey, Adolfo.